The 35-year-old hasn't been seen in public since earlier this month,
after accusing an ex-vice premier of China of sexual assault. That detailed an alleged affair described as largely consensual with Zheng Gaolin, a former vice premier, and included a claim that he forced her into sex. Zheng retired in 2018 and could not be reached for comment.
Peng made the revelation on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform. And since then, she has been missing.
Honestly, it's shocking, that she's missing.
Peng posted the allegation to a Chinese social media site, which promptly deleted it.
Peng Shuai is one of China's biggest sports stars, but her online presence has been largely scrubbed. Like when you search for her account, there's nothing there.
Chinese state media showed what it said was an email from Peng to the Women's Tennis Association, apparently recanting the allegations and saying everything's fine. The head of the WTA doesn't believe Peng actually wrote it.
We definitely want to speak to her directly and make sure that she's okay.
China wants to brush these allegations under the carpet, but that's no longer acceptable to the tennis world.
The WTA demanding an investigation and threatening to pull its tour from China.
This cannot be swept under the rug. It can't be condoned.
Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, and more rallying around the hashtag Where is Peng Shuai?
Just a massive story in the sports world involving a tennis great and the communist country of China. Peng Shuai, a winner at Wimbledon in 2013 and the French Open in 2014, the only Chinese tennis player to ever have the #1 ranking, has gone missing. Peng made the allegations against Zheng, 75, on November the 2nd on her verified account on Weibo, a Chinese social medium. She said she met Zheng earlier in her career and had a consensual relationship with him. She said he sexually assaulted her shortly after he stepped down as one of China's top leaders in 2017. Chinese censors have wiped out any mention of the accusation online and blocked her social media accounts on China's internet. Her post was taken down within roughly 30 minutes, and searches of her name appear to be blocked in China, as did, temporarily, searches for tennis.
This case has not been reported by the Chinese media, and any online discussion of it has been censored or removed.
In a since-deleted social media post, Peng accused Zheng of coercing her into sex and alleges a relationship over an intermittent period that spanned at least 10 years. China's central government has refused to even acknowledge any concern for Peng, with the foreign ministry spokesman sticking to Beijing's line on Friday that his agency at least wasn't aware of the controversy.
China's foreign ministry spokesman had this to say.
I've not heard of the issue you raised. This is not a diplomatic question.
Which was uttered by this man, Zhao Lijian. About 3 years ago, after Zheng had retired, the Post alleges Peng was invited by him to play tennis in Beijing. Afterwards, she wrote, Zheng and his wife brought Peng to their home, where Peng claimed she was pressured into having sex with Zheng. That afternoon, I did not agree at first and was crying all the time, Peng wrote. After dinner with Zheng and his wife, and following much persuading from Zheng, she relented, according to the Post. Why did you have to come back to me? Took me to your home to force me to have sex with you, she wrote. I couldn't describe how disgusted I was and how many times I asked myself, am I still a human? I feel like a walking corpse. Every day I was acting, which person is the real me? There have been no verifiable signs of Peng since, no videos or photographs to prove she is safe. Instead, all the outside world has seen is a stilted message said to have been written by Peng and sent to the WTA in response to its demand for an inquiry into her allegations. Peng's supposed response, released by China's state-owned broadcaster on Wednesday, immediately raised concerns.
The chair of the WTA puts out a statement saying, I have a hard time believing that Peng Shuai actually wrote the email or believes what is being attributed to her.
It reads like a message from a hostage, a natural concern given the Chinese government's long history of using force and heavy-handed pressure to crush dissent and flatten those it deems guilty of going against the state. In typical IOC fashion, led by Thomas Bach, they chose the route you see on your screen. This is the stark reality of bending the knee to the CCP.
I think I remain hopeful, and I remain hopeful with the rest of the world. I don't think we should accept the result as it is until we finally reach a result of we see where she is, we know what has happened to her, and eventually maybe possibly a full and transparent investigation about her sexual allegations. I mean, I urge, and including myself, I'm not going to accept what it is right now until we find out where she is and that she's safe, that she's free from expressing herself.
Activist and lawyer Xiaowen Liang spoke with ABC News Australia. Opposite the IOC's coddling is the head of the WTA, Steve Simon. We're definitely willing to pull our business and deal with all the complications that come with it, Simon said in an interview on November 18th with CNN. Because this is bigger than the business, he added. The reason this is such an important statement from Simon is because tennis in China is big business, with the WTA commitments alone amounting to about $1 billion. The WTA also has its Asia-Pacific headquarters based in Beijing, and the WTA has a 10-year deal with China to host the WTA finals in a southern Chinese city. Natasha Kassam, director of public opinion and foreign policy at the Lowy Institute, said the WTA has some leverage over China. Most of the other cases where we've seen China interfering with sporting organizations, they haven't had a colleague or a teammate disappear. This is on a different level. So the WTA's reaction is strong, and it's helpful, and it's using the leverage that it has. The brazen efforts to silence Peng Shuai seem at odds with China's focus on making the Beijing Olympics a success, Kassam said, who is a former diplomat in Beijing. As of this morning, the United Nations is speaking out. It would be important to have proof of her whereabouts and well-being, and we would urge that there be an investigation with full transparency into her allegations of sexual assault, said Liz Throssell, a spokeswoman for UN Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet's office, who told reporters this in Geneva. Many are asking because we just don't know. Where is Peng Shuai? The sexual assault allegation is the first to be publicly leveled at a senior member of China's ruling party. In recent years, other allegations of sexual misconduct have been made toward figures in Chinese academic and entertainment spheres. In many cases, those making the accusations have ended up being the targets of threats and defamation cases by the men they accused. Women in other countries have also faced defamation lawsuits after making accusations. The Communist Party itself has acknowledged sex scandals involving its top officials, though typically only after they have been found guilty on corruption or other charges. The Chinese government has a long history of arbitrarily detaining people involved in controversial cases, controlling their ability to speak freely, and making them give forced statements, said William Nee, research and advocacy coordinator for the nonprofit Chinese Human Rights Defenders. Lu Pin, an activist who founded the now banned Chinese online forum Feminist Voices, wrote in a message from New Jersey, where she now lives, Peng is definitely not the first one to be forced into silence and disappeared. This kind of encounter is absolutely not uncommon in China now. The authorities have too much power, and no one can hold them accountable.